Trigger warning. The following program is strictly satire and is not meant to be taken seriously. So don't get all butthurt, you liberal snowflakes, just because we skewer your sacred cows and expose all your lies and hypocrisy. Truth hurts, and so does satire. So grab a drink, pull up a chair, and enjoy the show.
Welcome back to the Prepared Mind channel. It is Sunday Night Live. That means it is the zoo. And I got to tell you, folks, there's a lot in the head right here, right now. And I'm glad that you're with me. We are on the show. And as you know, every week, typically, Darcy T or Chin Music starts the show off with a $50 or more super chat donation. But this week, just because, we had Big Dan the Man starting off with a $2 super chat. And he says, I celebrate No King's Day every July 4th myself. And I think we all do. It's called Independence Day. But I know what he's referring to is the idiotic No Kings people out there. There's so much to say. Nobody is safe. Nobody is safe. And I'm bringing this up because we're all targets, all of us. We're all targets. No King's Day? Who's celebrating that? Left-wing, lunatic, Democrat, communist, Antifa types. But get this, nobody is safe in any group. Not our group, no group is safe, folks. In Wisconsin, a 61-year-old, not a veteran, a woman, 61-year-old woman was killed, cold-blooded, executed. Not by the king, but by an ex-coworker who obviously was mentally deranged, but he targeted her for what? For being a Trump supporter. So, being an anti-Trumper, being a pro-Trumper, there is no Switzerland, nobody's safe. But guess what? The media is not covering it. I wonder why. I wonder what protected class and group we don't want to talk about who they are, right? It's incredible, right? What if you don't support Trump or Israel or the Democrats or the Republicans, but you're just America first and America freedom? If you try going that route, look, I just love my country. Then you're an anti-Semite, neo-Nazi, right-wing, fundamentalist cult type, right? There's no safe team to be on anymore, folks. So you may as well be on the team that will serve you as a free human being. Team America. Be smart, be a free thinker, and I think that's our best bet. Anyways, thank you, Big Dan, for that one. Good stuff there. It's just me tonight. Ooman is in rest and recovery. He's left the Prepared Mind war zone. He's getting healed up. And Jolene over on the West Coast is doing family things. So it's just me. It's just me tonight. But we've got a lot to talk about. So if you've got something to say and you want to be on the screen right here, best thing to do, super chat donation. Up here gets you down here on the screen. And we've also got in the comments, the video description, we have a link for Venmo, CashApp, PayPal. And the way we start, now I'm going to be distracted with all of your guys' running commentary there. So be careful. Starting out the show, we're going to do $50 PayPal super chat donation from Darcy T. And basically, she inspired the thumbnail for the video, the Marine helicopter, with the camouflage kind of, if you look at the thumbnail, you'll see what it is. But it has to do with the Marines, has to do with our troops, has to do with ground invasion that may be coming. So Darcy T says, good evening. She's always the most polite. She says, we've been speculating that the war in Iran would eventually include a ground invasion. Now we're seeing our troops getting ready for that eventuality. And that's exactly the eventuality that they have pushed. And I'm going to tell you the one thing that happened, the one thing that has occurred that has convinced me that the ground war is now an inevitable, unstoppable likelihood, 99%. Any super chat, $50 or more, buys me a single malt Glenlivet. You got to love it if you like the Glenlivet. Okay. Does the crown make me special? Yes, it does. All right. Thank you, Darcy T, for kicking the show off with a nice $50 super chat and a scotch. That's to all our brothers and sisters out there who are about to be put in harm's way. Darcy continues, at what point, if at all, would the neutered Congress object to a ground invasion, since congressional approval is required before going to war, and this is clearly not just military strikes? Okay, so even though this seemed to be a fairly condensed concept or idea, this is where we're at. So I said, hey, ground troops eventually. I said it is now an inevitability, and I'll tell you why. Our president, President Trump, said, everyone, go listen to Mark Levin. Mark Levin and Israel First, America Not at All. Big mouth blab. I'm trying to be nice. On his show, and he's really a nobody, but he is the media, the direct media face for Israel. Told us why we're going to go to war, why we need to go to, why we should, why we have to. Of course, it's because Israel wants. And now that Israel has come out and said ground war is needed, we've got to take the island of Karg, right? This is where we're at. That's why I say it is now inevitable, because Trump didn't explain it himself. Not that, right? We got, well, the Israeli mouthpiece. Instead of the Hanoi Jane, we now have the Tel Aviv Mark explaining to us how it is from, well, shall we say, occupied territory. We're in big, big trouble. So you asked this question, Darcy. At what point would the neutered Congress object to a ground invasion? I think that at most, it will be individual members of Congress, or quite possibly a little coalition, a little caucus. In other words, 4 or 5 congressmen and women might come out and say, we strongly object to this. I know Thomas Massey objects to it. But yeah, look, there is this whole, the president needed to act in the self-defense and national interest of the nation and couldn't wait for Congress, so we had to go bomb the shit out of somebody. I get that. I get it. But the ground invasion is not a small thing. It's been weeks and weeks and weeks in the development. By the way, I've got your message, Chelsea and husband. So I'm going to try and keep an eye out for your comments. She's done a super chat out there. So anyways, folks, yeah, we're not getting out of this. It is over for any semblance of law and order, constitutional activity that falls within the guidelines, rules of the Constitution. It's just not happening. We already know this Constitution means nothing to Congress. Nothing to Congress. Not a thing. Not a thing at all. You can rape children, sacrifice them to satanic gods. I got your message, Chelsea. They can do whatever they want. I mean, even cannibalism, all caught, no arrests. Congress can pass rules with no one in at 2 a.m. No one in Congress. But they can't pass rules when everyone's in Congress and it benefits the American people. You understand that? I mean, think about it. Everything that's being done, what part of this benefits you and me and us in America? Congress giving themselves raises, Congress giving themselves exemptions from the rules they push on us, from, I don't know, COVID vaccines, Obamacare, or some sort of insurance. There's no way out of this at this point. We are now being run by an out-of-control lunatic government in Washington, D.C. that is obeying Israel, and Israel first. And some may pay a little lip service, but most of Congress, I would say 90% or more, is owned by Israel, directly owned by Israel, and they will not speak up unless they get permission or there's a particular angle that they're going to follow. We're not in charge of this government anymore. We are no longer sovereigns. We are now subjects of the government that can shut down your banking, that can plant information on your computer, that can arrest you at any time and make up whatever charges they want and never have you go to court even. They can just arrest you for anything they want. So Congress may object, but it's only a symbolic objection. Yes, I agree with you. Yeah, congressional approval is required before war is declared. But has Trump declared war? What is war? War is engaging a foreign national sovereign government, sending Navy or Army, Air Force, Marines to another country and engaging in combat, violent action. Violent action. It's coming, folks. It really is. Now, these are not just military strikes. And I've got more to say about what's happening. And we'll get into it. But I want to hear more from you guys. But what we're going to start with or go to next is Chin Music. Checked in with a $53.08. That's a 5308 super chat donation. And I want to get tuned up. Thank you, Chin Music. We're going to get into this, folks. There's so much to talk about. Me, you, us, all of us. Semper Fi, Chin. That's music right there. Chin Music has this to say. He's got some thoughts. He says, so listening to all the talking heads about the, quote, war we've already won, but still sending ground troops. It's hard as hell to know who to believe because no one, and I mean no one, is in the middle. We've either already won, according to the government and the media, or we are in dire shape and losing our asses, according to other experts who managed to find their way into some form of media. Now, Chin Music says, I tend to feel the latter, meaning we're in dire shape, is closer to the truth, primarily because the MAGA Israelites, right? That would be the American-owned, or I'm sorry, Israeli-owned American government, the Israeli-owned American media, right? They'll do anything, say anything to make sure they paint neocons and Jezreel in a good light. The detractors appear to be more sober-minded and unaffiliated with any doctrine. But again, who knows these days? What say you, Tiny? Always with the good one there, Tiny. We were told we're winning this. This is going to be a 2-day event. We were told that at the beginning. So Trump was like, we're just going to go bomb the shit out of them. It'll be over. It's not a 2-day event. We haven't already won. We keep being told we're winning. This is winning. We're winning. But why are we sending in ground troops? If Iran doesn't have the ability to defend itself, or attack its enemies abroad, they should have collapsed instantly, but they haven't. Now, can I trust Iran to tell the 100% truth? The answer is no. I don't trust any government. I'm not a leftist. I'm not a rightist. I'm not a Zionist. I'm not a war hawk. I am a America, the United States of America, God bless America kind of guy, a 1776 guy. I love our Constitution, right? So I don't think we've already won, because if we've already won, then why is anything else necessary? If Iran was crippled, we wouldn't still be there, nor be planning troops. It doesn't make any sense. So I know we have not won. I know that we're not doing great. Are we in dire shape? I know that we're out of missiles, or close to being out of missiles. They've reallocated United States military missiles out of Ukraine, out of South Korea, other parts of the world, to try and get them into the Middle East to defend Israel, and if allowed, defend American positions. Now, the rest of the Middle East, so Saudi Arabia, United Arab Emirates, Kuwait, Qatar, Bahrain, these countries have American naval bases and air bases and army bases. They have them. And they're being bombed to smithereens. But every time America or Israel or both decide they're going to bomb inside Iran, whatever they bomb, Iran turns around and in kind bombs the same, except for schools and civilians. But you bomb infrastructure in Iran, Iran is bombing infrastructure. The rest of the Middle East is considering telling the Americans, telling Washington, D.C., telling Israel, get the hell out of our country. We don't need you anymore. Your protection is worthless, because we're now having our infrastructure bombed. Our ports, our airports, our cities, our military installations. We're having our water desalination, our water storage, our electricity, our power generation bombed by Iran, because they are acting in accord, in concert with their enemy. In other words, they're on the same team. So let me put it to you this way. If you were getting your ass kicked by one person, you know who you're fighting. But if you're getting your ass kicked and someone else is holding your arms back, you know that person holding your arms back, they're not on your side. Right? If you've got somebody that you're fighting and somebody keeps handing them a bat to hit you with, and you take the bat from them, throw it away, and then that other person keeps handing them a bat and a stick and a rock to club you with, you're thinking that other person is on their side, is helping them. And that's how Iran is telling the Middle East, if you are going to assist an enemy that is attacking us, then you are the same as our enemy. Just because it's not your army and your military hitting us doesn't mean you're our friend or neutral. They're not being neutral, so they're going to get it's completely fucked up, right? But Washington is going to tell us, and back to Chin Music's comments, they're going to do anything, say anything to make sure the media does, Washington D.C. does, and Israel does, to make sure they look like they're the good guys. They're the heroes. Right? They're very upset that Tel Aviv is getting bombed, that Israel is getting bombed. They're very upset. The people are scared. In fact, right now in Israel, even though it is unlawful, it is illegal, it is a criminal act, maybe even considered treasonous. If you are in that country, Israel, and you report actual damage that's occurring, bombings that are happening, and that's not good, right? So they are now having protests in the streets, the Israelis, against their own government, because they're running out of food, running out of water, running out of fuel. They're getting bombed. They're dying. They don't like it. It's incredible stuff going on, folks. It doesn't look good. At the same time, what is happening? The United States is running headlong into a trap. Into a trap. A very deadly, deadly trap. Now, I want to thank you for that. Chelsea, you're on the board. I've got you right here. We're going to get to you in a minute. I've had 2 scotches. I need to slow down, make sure I don't ruin myself too quick. But this is from Alan Meyer Jensen, who is in Europe. And he says, not Israel you need to fear, but all the Muslims and commies. I'm going to start with the former first. Communists are excessively dangerous. They are godless. They are cowardly. They are liars. They are thieves. They are murderers. They are mass murderers. Yes, I do not like communists. I don't love them. There's no place for them in the world because they have demonstrated they're willing to murder countless people. Communism, by the way, its tenets, its principles are based on Zionist principles. Now, moving to the Muslims you're mentioning, they are also dangerous and they need to be feared and understood as an enemy of freedom and liberty. Communists are an enemy of freedom and liberty. Muslims are an enemy of freedom and liberty because they like to marry children, little girls. They like to rape little boys. They like to push their belief system on you, and if you disregard it, they'll stab you. They'll kill you. They'll cut your head off. They will rape your daughters, rape your wives, steal your house. They'll lie to you when they're in a minority. But once they get enough of them around, they become brave. They start to act out. They start to threaten. They start to get violent. They start to say, we're going to pass Sharia law. But Israel needs to be feared also because Israel, specifically Zionist Israel mentality, is truly dangerous. Like I said a moment ago, it birthed communism. And like Muslims, the Talmudic Israeli Zionist belief system says sex with little girls is fine. Rape is fine. They, like the Muslims, they don't have Sharia law. They have NITE laws. And they say that being a Christian is idolatrous and deserves the death penalty. They consider us inferior, just like the Muslims consider Christians inferior, and that they can lie to us. They even have a name for us: goyim, cattle, slaves. They believe, Israel does, just like the Muslims, that they are the chosen. They're superior, and everyone else is to be their slaves. So that's where I disagree with you, Alan, and respectfully so, I disagree. Until you've had someone put a gun to your fucking head, you don't understand. You just don't understand. Until you've been threatened with death, you just don't understand. These people are and willing and promise and continue to threaten us all. It's unbelievable. It's scary. It's just not a good scene. But in any event, I appreciate it very much, Alan. I really do. but you know, I want to bring up Alan one more time. Congress, the people there think Guam will tip over if you put military stuff on one side of the island. You already lost. USA is referring to Hank Johnson, a Democrat moron who thinks that if you put too many tanks on one side of the island of Guam, it'll flip over. He said that over a decade ago, man. The people that are elected are the greediest, dumbest, stupidest amongst us. No doubts. No doubts. Yeah. So Chin says the detractors appear to, I'm going to go back to Chin now. The detractors appear to be more sober-minded and unaffiliated with any doctrine, meaning people who don't think the war is good, who are saying we're getting we're not in good shape. The United States is not dominating this conflict. Right now, we're trading punches like Rocky Balboa and that big Russian, I will break you, right? They're just trading punches. We're beating the shit out of each other. But someone brought more missiles to the party, and we're going to find out exactly how that works. To be honest, I have a doctrine. I have a belief system. It is freedom. It is liberty. It is mutual respect. Things that our government, the Israeli government, other religions, and other political doctrines have nothing in common with us. Nothing. To say I should not worry about Israel, that owns 97% of the media in this country, that influences over 90% of Congress by donating significant, and when I say significant, I mean millions of dollars to congressmen and senators to get them elected in position. So much so that I think they're actually committing fucking treason. Absolutely. All right. Let's do this. If we shall. Nancy steps in and says, to the great people here, that's on the Prepared Mind channel, who have a real brain in their heads. Thank you for the great compliment, Nancy. I think we do have a very intelligent audience, and I like bringing up all the topics, and I'll give you my take. You think what you want. Do your own research. Look around. Look at the facts. Look at what's going on, and you'll discover that, your belief system is going to be, your heart, your soul, your mind is going to be better served, not by listening to me or the news or the right wing or the left wing. Believe yourself. Educate yourself. It's the best way to be confident that what you believe, what you think is the right way to go. Right? I always say, double check me, double check everyone. Don't trust anyone. Don't trust anyone. Real brain in your heads. That's the way to go. Semper Fi, Prepared Mind family, says Nancy K. Great super chat donation. Thank you very, very much. And good golly, where do we go next? Chelsea and husband. Chelsea Rearing says, keep the lights on, topic of your choice. $50 Venmo super chat donation from Chelsea. Starting off, folks, we're at the 30-minute mark, and I've got 3 scotches going. Definitely not in a driver's seat to a vehicle. But I'll tell you what, keeps my brains limber, keeps me sharp, and here we go. Thank you, Chelsea and husband. Oh, smooth like mother's milk. All right. So Chelsea says, topic of your choice. Topic of your choice. Let's see here. Let's go with the vice president. J.D. Vance made some interesting statements the last couple of days. There is the belief, Chelsea, that the 2028 election group, which is going to be comprised of, Washington, D.C. elites, power elites on Wall Street and the banking system, the military-industrial complex, Israel, probably first, foremost, and greatest of all, they want to elect J.D. Vance. They need to kind of distance himself, separate him from Trump, keep him on Team Trump, but separate him. They're having him say all kinds of interesting things. First off, let me let you know that he says the aliens out there, by aliens, I don't mean the illegal aliens. I'm talking about the ones from outer space. He says they're demons. Interesting. And that he's going to use his top secret clearance to visit Area 51. Well, that's pretty interesting, huh? I've actually met a scientist that worked at Area 51. He can land Air Force 2 right there in Groom Lake in the heart of Area 51. They'll take him to a hangar. They'll show on the media maybe a couple of high-tech looking planes. I bet half the fucking country doesn't even know what an SR-71 looks like, or what it is, or how it was used, or its predecessor as well, nor the U-2 spy. They'll probably show those, and people are like, oh my God, those look amazing, right? From the 1950s and 1970s, these planes. Anyways, look, this scientist says there's nothing going on there. I think he was down to, if I remember correctly, it was a long time ago. I had this discussion, probably 20 years ago. Anyways, the guy went down to, I think, level 4. He's like, oh, there's no aliens there. It's all just high-tech stuff. Don't worry about it. So J.D. Vance, wants to go there. But at the other hand, we know that the government has been trying to make aliens a distraction, a political topic, a unifying concept. And we've been told by, Werner von Braun, head of NASA, former Nazi SS, commander in charge of Peenemünde, developing their rocket program during World War II, came to America, did our NASA program. But before he died, he let others know that they're going to play all these different games. We're going to go to war in the Middle East. We're going to have asteroid threats. We're going to have threats from outer space, but ultimately it'll end in the fake alien invasion. So it sounds to me like J.D. Vance is getting warmed up for that. Like this war in the Middle East to help Israel create the Greater Israel Project. Could end up, if they win, then they got their Greater Israel, but they may need to distract the whole planet with aliens. So it sounds like there's this plan to reveal aliens is both a distraction and a political ploy for control. And what if we've learned anything? It's that when people are traumatized, they're easier to control. But people also wake up during trauma. Trauma is a very, very crazy thing. Anyways, J.D. Vance, he wants to be the next president. The powers that be want him to be the next president. I don't know. I am afraid that they're going to use nuclear weapons. Oh, that is also on the fucking table. Nuclear weapons in Tehran, Iran. And Tehran is a very large country, folks. I think not counting Alaska, it's either 25% or maybe even 30% as big as the United States of America. Very large country. Remember that the Mercator projection map, that is to say the world map we're used to seeing with the North Pole and the South Pole being these flat things, it is not to scale. It makes everything at the equator look smaller and everything at the poles look bigger. And anyway, in other words, Iran is very mountainous, like Colorado. It's very large. Like I said, it's bigger than Texas. It's huge. Giant country full of people that love their country. And they think of it as Persia, meaning it's been around for thousands of years. They may end up bombing it with nukes. Anyways, I got to tell you, Chelsea, thank you very much for the super chat donation. That keeps the lights on and keeps the scotch flowing, as well as having tuna fish and Spam, rice, beans, corn, canned goods. Folks, get prepared. If there's ever been a time that we're closer to World War III, we haven't been this close to World War III since the early 1980s. In any event, holy cow, we got people lining up. Chelsea, thank you very, very much. We're going to continue. But before I get to the next question, let me touch on J.D. Vance some more. He's dropped another distraction, a non-Iran war thing. Again, like I said, I think they're trying to separate J.D. Vance from Trump. So Trump can run his war without congressional approval, while J.D. Vance can go, I'm just the vice president, Anyways, he says, Ilhan Omar, this is a quote, Ilhan Omar definitely committed immigration fraud. He's confirmed that his task force on fraud is going to investigate and go after her. Now, look, I get instantly a ticket. Cop sees a criminal, right? He sees that I'm a criminal. I'm speeding, right? And he's pulled me over. He's like, oh my God, this guy's got a warrant. Instantly arrested. Judge sees me, instantly sentences me to jail. Politicians are committing grand theft, millions of dollars, fraud out the ass, right? And we get endless bullshit investigations for years and years and years, a lot of tough threats, but no one in Washington is ever being held accountable as long as they serve their masters. Now, is Ilhan Omar a puppet of Israel? No. But she has controlled opposition, in my opinion. In my opinion, she's controlled. She is used to divide and conquer, to pit Somalis against Americans. Oh, yeah, folks, I think we've got a lot of trouble coming. So J.D. Vance is out there. He's playing his part, folks. I trust no one at this point because I'm not hearing America first. I'm not hearing America first. Now, this is an interesting comment. I want to thank you, Viking, for a $20 super chat and for this great comment. He says, in 3 weeks from now, possibly a month, the IRGC, which is the Iranian military, okay, will be defeated. It is then that the real fun begins. I want some more explanation, man. I'm going to play along with this. I like this, Viking. I want to know what the real fun is. I need to know what the real fun is, according to you. But let's start with what you've addressed. In 3 weeks to 4 weeks, it's going to be finished. It's going to be done. I don't know. I really don't. What I do know is war games were played, and I read this report. They had a retired Marine Corps general come out and lead the mock IRGC. In other words, he was to play the opposite, right? The for the purposes of the war games, the devil's advocate, the bad guy. And he was able to defeat the U.S. military by using, shall we say, counterinsurgency style tactics, Iranian style tactics, war tactics. And he successfully defeated the military, our military, in war games, only war games, okay? In other words, if you don't have the right battle plan, it doesn't matter how good your troops are. You're putting them in harm's way. They're getting killed unnecessarily, almost as a, shall we say, sacrifice. Now, we were told it was going to be 1 to 3 days is Iran defeated. Then we were told, it's going to be 2 to 4 weeks. And this is coming from the White House. Then we were told, it could be 4 to 8 weeks or 6 to 12 weeks. And then now it's like, well, we're going to have a 1 to 2 years, up to 2 years, but probably be done in a year there. I think that was J.D. Vance. Someone correct me if I'm wrong in the comments. It's okay. I'm allowed to be wrong and admit it. But I think that it has now come out that this could end up becoming a prolonged, protracted quagmire, if you will. But unfortunately, the cannon fodder and the blood that is spilled is going to be American Marines and soldiers first and foremost, followed secondarily by the Air Force and the Navy and the civilian populations. I don't like that. This is Israel's war. They wanted to fight Iran. They're the ones who felt threatened. The United States of America, we were told not only by Joe Kent, not only by the intelligence services, not only by multiple experts who are, well, they're not allowed on CNN, ABC, NBC, CNBC, or any of these stupid, right, MSDNC, right? They're not allowed on there, but they're saying, hey, look, this is not going to be an easy war. It's not good, and it's turning out that they are more right than wrong, so it's not turning out to be easy. But let's just assume that they drop a fucking nuke on Tehran. Not only will they kill over 10 million civilian, non-Muslim, Persian, Iranian people, civilians. Yeah, they'll definitely take out the whole country, and the world is going to stop and shit itself. It would be fucking awful. But it would definitely end, and the IRGC would be defeated. In order for the this is my opinion, in order for the United States of America to quickly quickly defeat Iran, that's the way it would be. The only way I believe to defeat Iran without a nuclear weapon is to start on one border with an invasion like D-Day and draw all the Iranians out that they can and make them bomb the ever-loving shit out of our locations to reveal where they're at. And it would just be an all-out sacrificial bloodbath to evil gods. It would be a blood sacrifice to Baal, to Moloch, like you can't imagine. Same with the nuclear weapon. But if we were to defeat Iran, we'd have to do that. I know that we outnumber them, but really, what are we doing there? Iran does not have a nuclear weapon. If they had a nuclear weapon, even a dirty bomb, they would have used it. They would have used it. I am particularly sensitive to our military members being killed because I've been on every side of this. Now, I was there as a young Marine. I was there in the way I observe this as being a father. I observe this as being a post-military counselor, if we want to use that, and a shoulder, a brother to talk to for returning veterans who have PTSD, they're shell-shocked, right? The trauma, right? If we do what they say they want to do, that Israel wants America to do, to take Karg Island and then try and take Iran with our military, boots on the ground. You've got the 81st there. You've got the 102nd there. You've got Marine expeditionary units there. You've got, there's going to be special forces in there. Of course there is. It's going to be horrifying. I know that the American people don't have an appetite for it. I know that the military has conscientious objectors signing up saying, this is bullshit. We're not dying to protect another country that has never done anything for us, and in fact has attacked our military and is controlling our government. This isn't America first. This isn't America at all. It's horrifying. And by the way, we got 370 people live. Share the internet address with everybody. Be sure and thumbs up. You've got to be a subscriber for 5 minutes or more to do comments. I'm sorry I haven't said anything about that yet to this point, but it's incredible. But Viking, brother, I want to know, okay, if we go in and defeat them somehow, some way, I want to know what the real fun is you're talking about. Sounds crazy. Let's do this, though. Let's switch over to Cottage Farm. Good hearing from you, Cottage Farm. I hope the West Coast is treating you well. $10 super chat donation. And she says, Demons. God, I love this game. Are we having fun yet? Yeah, Demons. Alien Demons. In fact, it was way back in early 90s during my initial understanding and conspiracy theory research. There was no internet. I got back to my old hometown, 1993. There's no internet. How do you find out information? You go to a public library, check out books on aliens or the Rothschilds or the Rockefellers or American history or alternative American history or the Club of Rome, the Trilateral Commission, the Council on Foreign Relations, the Moose Lodge, the Elks Lodge, the Masons Lodge, the International Order of Oddfellows, right? Trying to get everything I could, just gathering information. But I discovered a Christian bookstore because I listened to this radio show. It was Jeff Metcalf on 560 AM out of San Francisco. For some reason, they could skip a signal that went all the way up and across and over into the Sierra Nevada mountains where I was living at the time. And he's like, hey, you can get this book by Gary Kaw called En Route to Global Occupation. It was about the New World Order. And he said, you can get it at a Christian bookstore. So I went down, found a Christian bookstore, and they had other books by Tex Mars, right? Books on politics, like Hillary Clinton. Oh, they were writing books, folks. In 93, 94, they already had all these people pegged, right? This is at the same time that we had Waco, Texas going on. Same time that we had, Ruby Ridge going on. This was at this point where I was at in my head, this was pre-Oklahoma City bombing, but still, I jumped right into this, but I saw inside the bookstore aliens. I thought, why do these Christians give a shit about aliens? They're like, have you ever looked at the picture of a typical gray and then the picture of a demon, as in a demonic out of hell demon? They got some similarities. They do some similar things like rape people or probe them, if you will. Incubus, succubus, probe, right? What aliens do, they milk men because they want semen, and they use operations on women to get eggs. Not this weird shit. But demons. So we got alien demons, and then we have these Baal worshiping Satanists that control our government with these literal kidnap children, groom children, use them for sex, hunt them, kill them, sacrifice them to the demon gods that they have, Baal, Moloch, Satan, Lucifer, whatever, and then they eat them. Consume and drink their blood, eat their flesh. These are some sick fucking people. And it all kind of ties everything together, does it not? Are we having fun yet? Good. I know you're being facetious with the word fun. But yeah, it's that bad, folks. The president is pushing us into a ground invasion. Congress, at least the Senate, has taken 2 weeks off and said, fuck it. It's Easter. Meanwhile, the Israelis in Israel in charge have shut down the Holy Sepulchre. The Christians are not allowed to go to the most holy site in Jerusalem, as they have for the last 2,000 years. They've shut it down. Now, the Jews can go worship in their synagogues, but not the Christians. They don't want anyone worshiping Christianity. Well, of course, that's idolatry. That's a crime against their God to worship and believe in Christ, to speak Christ's name. It is the Easter season, folks. Woo! We're having some fun. Yeah, you ain't shit. And thank you, Cottage Farm, for the great donation. Glad you are out there. And there are a lot of you out there right now. And it is Sunday Night Live, folks. Sunday Night Live. Tomorrow's a work week. I had last week off. I left the building, went topside, left the country, and met a lot of veterans. Crazy business, folks. Crazy. Let's do this. Let's do some more super chat donations. If you want to get right here on the screen, super chat donations right there is how you do it. How you do it. Okay, let's see. There we go. Took care of that. And took care of that. Going down the list, making sure I'm good. Okay. Folks, super chat button up there, or Venmo, CashApp, PayPal is in the video description. You get you on the board, just like Big Dan the man right here. He says, I'm hoping the whole system doesn't crash due to the drunk sailor spending in our country. The government does not make money. They take money. Fact. That is a fact. In fact, we don't even use money anymore, Big Dan. I know you have money. Some of us have money, real money. The Constitution, this funny little thing right here, says that's money. Gold and silver is money. Everything else is credit. Everything else is a promise. But when you go to the store, what do you use? You use paper currency. They can print paper forever. And it's been demonstrated time after time after time. Anytime you're using money that is not money, it can be faked. It can be replicated. It can be printed ad nauseum. But what has real value? Gold and silver. That's money. So they don't make money anymore. No, they don't give us silver coinage to spend. No, they give us paper money. And they take money, but even more than that, Big Dan, and you know it, I know it, we all know it because we all feel it. They debase the value of the currency, the US dollar, the fiat dollar, the Federal Reserve note. They deface it, they devalue it by printing so much of it, our purchasing power drops. Inflation. Imagine this 1 ounce, 1 troy ounce of silver right here. If you cut this in half, would it be worth as much as it is whole? No, of course not. Well, every year they have at least, their target is 2% inflation. They want to take 2% of your wealth every year in inflation. When times are bad, drunk sailor spending, they print way more because that's what the government does. They print money or electronically print it on computers, electronically transfer it, spend it, watering down your value. Now, the Roman Empire, they had the silver denarius. It wasn't a full ounce. But they debased their silver, not with paper, but by melting it down and adding junk metal to it. Tin, copper, so that it went from being 100% silver to 90%, to 75%, to 60%. Ultimately, before the empire fell, I think they had it down to like 10% silver. It was junk. It's trash. Right? You get a nickel today. A nickel. What's a nickel? What's a penny? A penny isn't even copper anymore. It's a copper-clad piece of zinc. Zinc is trash metal. It's a base metal. It has no real value, except in, well, industrial uses, manufacturing, etc. But for currency, it's worthless. But that's what they do. They make us work our ass off. They give us their fake watered down currency that they continue to water down, and then they tax us for it. Yeah. But the system has to crash. And it crashes approximately every 50 years. Approximate. So, we had a new monetary system after World War II. It was the Bretton Woods, not Breckenridge. That's Colorado. Breckin Woods, a little more on the East Coast. A system where they said, okay, the United States of America, we're going to use the US dollar based on gold as international currency, money for settling debts, buying, selling, etc. Well, we made it from the end of the war to the early 1970s, not quite 50 years. The rest of the world caught on that the United States government was printing way more paper that was supposedly backed by gold than they had. So that system got fucked up. We got the 1970s, terrible inflation everywhere, hyperinflation around the world at other places, right? Because of drunk sailor spending. The system was on its knees, not quite fully crashed, but on its knees. Since then, we're at the 50-year mark, and here we are. The debt has literally gone parabolic straight up. Meanwhile, they've held the value of silver and gold as tightly as they can and down. They don't want you to look at this as money or something of value. But what has gold done? Since 1971, gold has gone from, $40 to, it's gone as high as $5,600, but back down to $4,000. It's going back up again. Ooh, and that's coming this next week. And then from here forward, look out. It's going to be interesting. I mean, silver. Well, it went to 120, John. It crashed. Oh, okay, it crashed, huh? At this time last year, silver was half of what it is today. So even if you look past the crash and ignore it, we're still double what we were last year. 100% increase in value in 1 year. Gold, same story. It went from, $40 to $4,000 to $5,600 back down. Well, let me tell you how this works, by the way. There's a tidal wave coming, right? A tsunami of debt. So what happens in a tidal wave, a tsunami? Well, the water gets sucked out before it ruptures and just comes in and blows through. So gold started to go up, high tide, silver up, high tide, and it's gone back out. It's going away, right? Well, before every tsunami of, destruction or a tsunami in the price of things, up or down, depending on what you're looking at, it has to go out. But look out, folks. We're going to get hit with a tsunami of debt. That's just the U.S. spending going crazy. That's a tidal wave of spending based on what production, what ability to pay it back we don't have. So I believe we're going to have a crash. In other words, Dan, I know I took a long time getting there, brother, but we're going to have a crash. It is going to happen. It is going to happen. How badly, I don't know. I think we're going to get a new currency. I don't think it's going to be backed by gold and silver. I think it's going to be backed by more promises. I guess we're going to find out. In any event, thank you for the great, great, great support. And folks, there's so much going on. So much going. We're fighting in our own homes against members of our own family in a lot of cases over what is happening and what is the best thing to happen. Within our own communities, you can't even get schools to take homosexual porn out of the libraries, out of the classrooms where kids are being taught by transgender fruitcakes. We can't get our own cities under control where the police in many areas are just running roughshod over everyone. We're in big trouble. We can't even solve our problems, right? We have so much divisiveness or division that we're going to have a crash. Our government can't agree with itself. Well, they'll agree with Israel because they're purchased. They're purchased. It's going to be interesting. What if U.S. dollars are absolutely worthless? Well, they'll just, what, do they exchange them? Is there an exchange rate for the new dollar? Do the people that want to exchange them have to prove where their money came from? Well, this was something the French did, by the way. Every time there's a new French franc, this is before the euro, right? When there is a regime change or their currency failed, you would have to take all of your old francs, which a French dollar is a franc. You have to take all of your old francs to the bank or to the government and say, here's my old money. I need to exchange it for the new money. But you had to prove where you got it and that you paid your taxes. Otherwise, your old money was no good. Are they going to do that with the new money? Are they going to allow politicians, bankers, billionaires, millionaires to just say, oh yeah, look at all this money I've got in the Caymans, in the Bahamas, in what, name your tax haven. Yeah, I paid taxes on all this. Or what if it's sitting in a corporation, an offshore corporation, right? A foreign offshore corporation that the money has been transferred to or laundered into by all these Democrats and Republicans and billionaires. Are they going to be allowed to just swap it? I don't know. We're going to find out. We're going to find out. Yeah, there's going to be a digital currency. It's going to be digital. And they're going to try and privatize money. That's another thing that they've said. It's another prediction that they're going to try and privatize currency and currency creation through corporations and banks rather than having a central bank, etc. All right. Northern Pike checks in and it says, after shit hits the fan wipes, we need spam wipes. I'm telling you, a little joke here about toilet paper. You know, when shit hits the fan, we're all going to need to clean ourselves. And if it's a big enough SHTF, shit hitting the fan, we're going to have to start eating our spam. And you're definitely going to need to have wipes for that. The reason I say that is unless you, my friends, unless you are regularly eating your prepper food, you know, eating the older stuff and buying new stuff and putting it back and getting used to that being your diet, your stomach is going to be very, very unhappy with you. You're going to need a lot of wipes. Let's see. Food, water, shelter, clothing, medicine, means of self-defense, and toilet paper. Cracked eggs. Yes, the Federal Reserve is a private bank. but they make the profits. So yeah, they're going to tell us we don't need no Federal Reserve no more. You can go to J.P. Morgan, or you can go to Ford Motor Company, or you can go to Tesla, and you give them X, and they will issue you currency, right? We're going to find out. Anyways, Big Dan checks in with a $10 super chat donation, and Big Dan has now got the hat trick for the show. This is his third super chat. And once again, if you want to get on the board here, you got a super chat button right up there. So Dan says, our planet is a large musket ball traveling through space in an orbit around our sun, traveling at 67,000 miles per hour. Incredible we haven't hit anything yet, or something hitting us. Well, there's that whole KT boundary event from, I think it was 66 million years ago. A large asteroid allegedly slammed into what is now the Yucatan Peninsula and put so much dust, dirt, debris in the air that we had the equivalent of a nuclear winter. Vegetation didn't grow well. Cold-blooded dinosaurs all died off. Yeah, there's stuff out there. There's I got a book back in the prepared library on Mars being destroyed, and I think that one was written by Graham Hancock. But Mars was hit by something, it looks like, and destroyed, killed that planet because there were such huge impacts. But there's also the asteroid belt. If you listen to Dr. Tom Van Flandern, he's dead now, of course, but he came up with the exploded planet hypothesis. Something really big hit that planet, which is now just a bunch of debris circling the sun between Mars and Jupiter. We've had very large comets come through. The last one that was huge was Shoemaker-Levy 9. Ended up getting captured by the gravitational pull of Jupiter, and it exploded into many, many, many smaller cometary fragments and slammed into Jupiter. That was interesting. But this planet's been hit by some stuff. You've got a very large, obvious impact crater in Arizona. Many of them around the world, but hell, we don't need anything from outer space. We've got super volcanoes like Yellowstone is an active volcanic caldera that is not dead. It's alive. So we've got a lot of things that can take us out. Take us out. It's interesting. I don't know what's a bigger threat. The planet, things from outer space or the heavens, if you will, or human activity. Human activity. It's crazy, folks. Crazy. I don't know. I don't know what to think. That's why, I say, look, it doesn't matter what happens. If it's bad enough, if it's big enough, you're going to need the same items no matter what to survive. Food, water, shelter, clothing, medicine, means of self-defense, toilet paper, also, solar panels, batteries, generators with a decent fuel supply, communications equipment like, starting very small, walkie-talkies, moving up to CBs, citizens band radios, world radios, world band, hopefully solar powered, battery crank, hand crank or battery powered, then ham radio. And if you have it, you can do a shortwave radio broadcast. A lot of people out there do have unlawful, overpowered radios that they can reach out and talk to anyone they want. They're out there. Trust me, folks. They're out there. But I recommend that. Being prepared for everything and anything. Now, again, the idea that the last move the very evil governments of the world will do to maintain their control of our minds and our belief systems is to hit us with the alien invasion. I I'm still of the opinion that that's what they want to do. But that could include, I mean, let's just take this one step. We do have a lot of near Earth asteroids that are very large, anywhere from a quarter of a mile across to 10 kilometers, 1 kilometer, 5 kilometers. These are called Earth killers, right? We could get one. They're telling us it's coming in. We could get hit by a lot of smaller asteroids, size of cars, buses, that cause a lot of damage, scare everyone, kind of like the one that hit Russia several years back. It was a huge flaming fireball. It exploded over a city, blew windows out. We could get hit with several of those all over the planet. So every person in every country is aware we're being hit by these asteroids. They could tell us, much like in the movie Armageddon, oh, those were bad, but that was just part of a really big one that's coming. And in come the aliens. Ah, yes, the aliens are here to save us. And they're going to put on a light show in the sky. They're going to blow that asteroid up. Just send it in a different direction so that, yeah, we're safe. Yeah, we're safe now because the aliens saved us. I don't trust anyone or anything. I really don't. People in charge are crazy. Very interesting stuff. We come in peace. Yeah, there's a lot going on. All right, folks, we are into hour number 2. Hour number 2 of the show. We're still hovering just under 400 people live. Be sure and subscribe and thumbs up. Doesn't cost you anything. But if you want to put your ideas here, the best way to do it, because I'm just watching all of the comments scroll by top speed. The program I have captures super chat donations, and then I can put you up on the screen, and it works. It works. Otherwise, it's just too hard to keep up. I can't focus. I can't focus. There's so much going on. I don't want anyone to forget that they're still planning another pandemic. Everyone still remembers back at 2020, right? Well, it's 2026. That's right. 6 fucking years ago. 6 years ago, they said we're all going to die from the common cold. No one got the flu that year, but everybody that got anything, it was always COVID, right? Well, we're still paying for that. Who is this? Okay. There we go. The stupid people in the comment section, you know who you are. Knock it off. Okay. We're still paying for that. And in fact, a 26-year-old hockey player, folks, super athlete, has stage 4 cancer. This came from Darcy T. More turbo cancer. It's here. Young people are getting colon cancer. Children are getting colon cancer. By the way, ivermectin, which we are told is dangerous, doesn't do any good. Fenbendazole and mebendazole, those 3 antiparasitical drugs have now been released. Peer-reviewed papers. It's public now. Cure cancer and cure it quickly. According to doctors, not me. I'm not a doctor. I don't even play one on TV anymore. There is a cure for cancer. All of these people that have taken the Jim Jones juice and are getting sick, have a depressed immune system, have cancer. If you're going to do anything, you better do something. And I know what I am doing as a detox program, as an anti-parasitic program, and as anti-cancer, is I am taking all of these ingredients on a regular basis. This is an interesting thought here. Praxis, you didn't do anything that I saw. It was another dickhead. All right, let's have some fun. Super chat donations guarantee you're up here, but this was interesting. I just saw this. It's going to be an energy lockdown. It's already started in many countries. All right, Eric, you got on the board for free somehow, but energy lockdown. What have they told us they want us to do in the last few years? They have told us that they want to have us live in 15-minute cities. 15-minute cities. What is a 15-minute city? Well, it's where you live and where you work, and you're not allowed to travel outside that. Before they started saying that, 10 years, 15, 20 years ago, they said, we want to push people out of rural areas and get them into big urban centers. Why? Why would they want that around the world, not just the United States of America? Because it's hard to control people when they can go where they want, do what they want, and live off the land. Farm their own food, grow their own vegetables, raise their own livestock. They don't like that. They don't like that at all, in fact. Yeah, 15-minute cities. Digital concentration camps. Very good, Alan. They want that. What is one of the best ways to do that? Well, war, pestilence, or do we want to call it, pandemic. Energy is the other one. If you can't travel because you can't get fuel, or there's brownouts, blackouts in electricity, you can't leave the city in your electric vehicle even and charge it anywhere along the way. Have you noticed? I know people with EVs, they're like, I can't go anywhere. I can't leave my city because there are so few charging stations on the highways. And then when you get to them, you're waiting hours, and oftentimes they don't work. So you're trapped. This is after 20 years of having EVs. They still haven't figured out a fueling system along the way that's profit-making, that works. No, they're purposely dragging their heels and fucking it up. And now they're creating an artificial energy crisis by intentionally going to war and fucking up the entire global trade system that relies on waterborne tankers to distribute fuel around the world. Most of the oil, or a lot of the oil, comes from the Middle East. What did they do in Europe? They blew up the Nord Stream pipeline. They still got Nord Stream 2, and Putin's like, I may open that if you people aren't asshats. Oh, Ukraine is shut down pipelines and controlling pipelines. They want to take away our energy. There are reports coming out of Australia that they're already having fuel crisis. Not enough. Northern Hillbilly says they want everyone dead. Well, they want everyone dead that they don't like. That's for sure. All right, get that off there. Doggone it. There we go. And eating clothes. Anyways, back to the energy crisis. Energy. You need energy to travel. You need energy for prosperity, though. So they've got to have energy, but they need to keep it maybe just in the cities. We're in big fucking trouble, literally, with what's going on. We're in big trouble, folks. Aliens, pandemic, energy crisis, food shortage. Oh, by the way, I think the state of Nebraska is on fire. Hundreds of thousands of acres burning again. Farms, right? Cattle, feed, human food is being, removed from the system. It's not that it's accidentally happening, but there's too much of it going on, in my opinion. They are manufacturing food shortages. That's not going to keep people in the cities. That's going to cause people to leave the cities and try and find food elsewhere. But it is all SHTF. Oh, yeah, and I'm not lying, and I'm not bullshitting you guys. By the way, we're over 400 people and keep going up. Share the internet address. Subscribe, it's free. Thumbs up, it's free. Good. We're over 400. That's fucking awesome. And this topic, I'm not lying. There have been people, and might I say, they seem to be suspiciously Israeli, have put out there in public, in forum, that is to say, meetings, gatherings, seminars. Why can't we eat children? Why can't we eat babies? Why can't we eat aborted babies? Why can't we eat dead people? Why can't we turn people not just into human compost for fertilizing the ground, as Courageous Cat suggested in the comments, but actual food. You know, I'm so suspicious now of fast food. I don't eat it anymore, not just because it's not healthy, but also because it's too suspicious. You got McDonald's, Burger King, Wendy's, Taco Bell. Name every damn fast food joint. Hamburger. Where's it all coming from? To feed America its insatiable appetite for junk. And it doesn't taste like meat. Have you noticed? I noticed this. McDonald's doesn't claim to have all beef patties. In fact, I don't even hear the word fucking beef. In fact, I think the CEO called it a product. Their hamburgers are products. I don't eat products. I eat beef, or I eat chicken, or I eat turkey, or I eat pork. Burger King is now saying it's 100% beef. I'm sure somebody's got to go test that, the DNA, because, folks, I've heard so many crazy things, but I don't know what's true. I don't trust these people. I don't trust the food industry. I don't trust the government. I don't trust the military-industrial complex. I don't trust the water. I don't trust cities. I don't trust the states. I don't trust anyone anymore. That's where we're at, because all of them have lied to us. Israel's our greatest ally. Must be a lie. Must be a lie. I love how Muslims go online and say, we don't allow rape. Only, it's like, what are you talking about? They're like, the Muslims are anti-Jew, anti-Israel, right? And so anytime a story comes up about Israelis raping their prisoners, raping Palestinians, raping their own people, they're like, Muslims don't do that. But then you go, what's going on in England? What's going on in Canada? What's going on in America? What's going on in all of Europe? Muslims raping everyone they can get their little dicks on. It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. Folks, if you got something to say, let's get you on the board. Super chat donations right here. Get you up on the board. There's the button right up there. Right up there. Let's look and see. I've got so much shit on my board to talk to you guys about. I've noticed a lot of stuff about gold and silver. Muhammad was a pedophile. Yes, no doubt. See, I got stuck looking at you guys over there. Okay. The world of gold and silver, folks. If you have it in your hand, you own it. A bank can close. A bank can get bought out. A bank can be told, shut your doors. But if you own this, you're good. And this has value. Silver has value. Gold has value. This is incorrect. Northern Pike, he says, they say silver eagles are pure silver with a little copper. That's untrue. They're 3 fines silver. The old coins, meaning silver dollars or half dollars, quarters, and dimes, were 90% silver, 10% copper, so it was a harder, more durable. That said, it was a quarter was still a quarter ounce of silver plus the 10% copper. Now, if you look at the mint-produced coins by the U.S. Mint, they do the silver eagle. It's 3.9 silver. It's not meant for use as currency. They're gold coins. They have the gold eagle, which is 1 ounce of pure gold with 8% added copper. It's a different color gold than the gold buffalo, which is 3.9 gold. If they sell you 1 ounce of silver or 1 ounce of gold, it has to have that 1 ounce. It's just whether or not they add anything extra. So let's move on. Here we go. Okay. Thank you very much. You guys are all over the place. You got the answers out there. Let's see. The Department of Justice has confirmed that Iran-backed hackers have breached FBI Director Kash Patel's personal email, and they're now publishing comments, emails, photos, videos. Well, Washington, D.C., you're bombing Iran. You're not going to stop them from releasing this. What are you going to do besides cry, bitch, piss, and moan that they're being exposed as weirdos, pedophiles, liars, thieves, and Satanists? Unfucking believable. I've now seen a video of Kash Patel dancing around like a little ballerina faggot. This is supposed to be the director of the FBI. Now I'll say this. The original and longtime director of the FBI, J. Edgar Hoover, was a homosexual. And guess what? He had files on everybody, but he was also controlling everybody he could. Yeah, J. Edgar Hoover, head of the FBI, faggot. It looks like that's a prerequisite to getting that job. Anyways, let's get into a super chat donation. Folks, this chat, we're going higher and higher. We're at 425 people live and going up. Keep sharing the internet address. Make sure you're a subscriber. It does not cost anything. Be sure and give the thumbs up. That doesn't cost anything. But if you want to get on the board, the best way to do it is by doing a super chat donation. And I got a super chat right here, $9.99 by, well, Broke Stacker, who says, recently I was hired to manage a pharmacy. I'm so grateful for the job. But guess what their biggest profits come from? Prescriptions, retail goods, over the counter. Nope, it is free vaccines. Free vaccines. This is an eye-opener. Broke Stacker, I hope you've got a lot of this and your dollar broke. Now, having said that, let's get back to your comments. If you asked anybody, they would probably say, oh, yeah, it's prescription drugs, prescription drugs, prescription drugs. I don't believe the pharmacy. That is their big profit maker. When I was young in my 20s, after being a Marine, I went to work at an Ace Hardware and lumber company while I figured out where I wanted to be, and turned out construction was it. Anyways, I learned that, a screw, a nail, or a box of screws, box of nails, made a profit. Profits could be anywhere from 50% to 500% on hardware items. It was huge. But if you look at a pharmacy, you're thinking, well, a pharmacy means drugstore, right? RX, drugs. It would be pharmaceuticals. Not correct. Retail goods, well, sure, Coca-Cola, they make, 100% profit, 200%, right? Over-the-counter drugs, yeah, there's profit there. There's good profit. But free vaccines. I'm so glad you put this on here. I've known pharmacists, had pharmacists for friends, folks. Not that kind of friend, right? Anyways, why are these vaccines free and they're making a profit? The biggest profit of all. I'll tell you why. Now, maybe we don't want to use the profit because they're not selling it, but how much money, how much capital is given to the pharmacy for every vaccine they give out. The reason is, well, right? They want us sick. They want us controlled. They want us to be experimented on. Right? The pharmaceutical industry has been proven. They've been exposed as they want pharmaceutical drugs. They do not want you to have cures. They want treatments. The best way to make sure everyone gets a treatment is to make sure everyone's sick, because then they got to treat you. Interesting that they pay money, right? Remember the Cerveza vaccine? I'm sorry, I can say it now. The Jim Jones juice, the COVID vaccine, was free to us. Well, if the government really wanted to cure us, don't you think they would make all pharmaceuticals free? Right? Well, it's a screw job. Everything's a fucking screw job. Pharmacies or pharmaceutical companies, Walgreens, CVS, Rite Aid, Walmart, Publix has pharmacies. Their biggest profit The biggest amount of money they make, the biggest cash cow for them is giving out vaccines. If the pharmaceutical companies make money off of selling treatments, not cures, treatments to people, then the best way to get them is to make sure that they're sick. So what have we discovered about the Jim Jones juice? That not only is it just killing people, but there's something else about it. It's giving people, cancer, blood clots, strokes, embolisms, aneurysms. It's causing autoimmune problems, AIDS-like issues, right? Their immunity systems are becoming worse and worse and worse and shitty. They've gone over the top now with their vaccines. They're all going to bring in mRNA ingredients. In fact, they're now talking about a universal vaccine, folks. It is so powerful, so awesome. It'll kill anything out there. It's going to vaccinate you against rubella and smallpox and chickenpox and polio and AIDS. It's going to be the ultimate vaccine. But it's mRNA. And what's that do? It reprograms your body. That's what's killing people's immune system, giving them clots, fucking them up. I'm glad you shared, Broke Stacker. I really do appreciate that. Really do. All right. Next, we've got I'm going to go with this. Robin G does a $50 super chat donation. Thank you, Robin. Appreciate it. It's going to make sure that I have, lots of this, but also a well-stocked pantry with lots of toilet paper for the upcoming SHTF. Because I'm sure I'm going to shit my pants pretty good, just like the rest of us if they get too crazy. Semper Fi, one and all. 250th birthday for the Marine Corps. We might see some interesting things. Woo! That'll take your breath away. Mother's Milk. Thank you, Robin. She says, here's a drink for the troops. Marine Corps, Army, Air Force, Navy, you bet. She said, should they have to go behind enemy lines, maybe under the Creator's armor? And that is a very nice prayer. Should our Marines, our soldiers, have to be boots on the ground, face the enemy in person, and then behind enemy lines, paratroopers, maybe under the Creator's armor? I pray for that too. I pray for their safe return, and I pray for victory, folks. But I don't want death. I want peace. And we, meaning the United States of America, our greatest ally, Israel, are the aggressors in this. And need I remind everyone? No, I don't, but I'm going to say it anyways. There is no coalition of the willing. There's no coalition of the good guys. There's no coalition of allies. Are there? No, there are not. There is no England. There is no Canada. There is no Australia. There is no European Union. There is no NATO alliance helping us. There's no Russia, China, or Japan either. It is just the United States, naked and all alone, with Israel sending over the occasional bombing run with their Air Force. While they're not bombing Lebanon, of course, they're trying to bomb Israel. That's it. It is the United States of America, our men and women, my brothers in arms, being told they're going to go fight Iran for Israel, for Zionism, for Chabad Lubavitch, for the Talmudic Jews in Israel that want a blood sacrifice of Christians to satisfy their gods. Oh, trust me, folks. Trust me. These people in Washington, D.C. that want this are pedophiles, they're liars, they're thieves, and they're Satanists, and they want to distract us. They want us mad at them for this war instead of being mad at them for being in the Epstein files. Anyone who doesn't want to release them is in there, and with good reason. They're being owned and controlled. Anyways, thank you, Robin, for that. Appreciate it. Drink for the troops. I pray, folks, but we're going to have trouble. We're going to have trouble. Rooster Cogburn. Hey, man, haven't heard from you in a while. $10 super chat donation. He says, wish I could send more, but the funds are tighter than a first-time butthole in prison for not paying taxes. Oh, Jesus. That is fucked up. He says, yet nobody has gone to prison over the Epstein crap. Yeah, don't pay your taxes. Go to prison. No. First, they'll take your job. They'll garnish your wages. Or they'll sell your house. They'll take the title of your house from you, kick you the fuck out, sell it to satisfy the tax. It could be a local sales tax. Local meaning state tax, property tax. And it could be your local government that has taken out bonds against your property, against your best wishes to handle some local thing that they want to fund. Oh, yeah. Where I was at in the unincorporated county in Northern California, inside the city limits, they wanted a new pool. So they took out a bond against every property owner in the whole county to pay for this pool. I'm like, you're adding that to my fucking property tax bill? That's why I don't own real estate anymore, folks, so they can't do this. But yeah, you go to jail, you're going to, right? You better hope you're not pretty because they're going to nail you. Now, maybe not. Who knows? Anyways, yeah. But all of these Epsteinites, all of these compromised, sellout, anti-American, pro-Israel fuckwads, they're not going to jail. They're not. Why not? Well, because they've sold their souls, folks. They've sold their souls. Now, this one is interesting. Northern Pike comes in with a $2 super chat, and he says, hey, it's the rebirth of an old evil, transhumanism. I don't know. Is that an old evil? This concept, this idea of transhumanism. Well, if you look at it in terms of robots, the hive mind, computerized or central computerized mind control, transhumanism. You know, where we're all interconnected. We're cyborgs. We're Borgs. Our thoughts are no longer ours as individuals, but rather, you know, we all belong to each other. Fuck that. That's communism. But that's what they want. Elon Musk is heavily involved in that. Bill Gates wants that. Oh, trust me. So does everyone in Washington, D.C. They want to own all of you. They want to own all of us. And they can do it by controlling it. So they're doing it the best they can with propaganda, media. Ultimately, they would like to have, right, us connected with computer chip in our brain, the way Elon's working on it, so they can read our thoughts, program our intentions. Well, hell, fuck, why not just give us advertisements in our head, right? They already do that. But this transhumanism idea, very interesting. I've heard a lot of people say, you know, well, heaven is a mental collective. We're all going to have the same thoughts in heaven. And I'm like, is that the transhumanism, this old evil, this idea that we're going to share the same mind? Then why have an individual experience here? Why am I held accountable for myself, but then I get to heaven and everyone else owns me? The whole fucking concept of transhumanism and hive mind and collectivism is just a nightmare for me. I don't like it. Makes no sense. Anyways, interesting thoughts. Thank you, Northern Pike. I appreciate that. Let's do this. Cottage Farm steps in with a $50 super chat donation, and she says, here's a drink for all of us dealing with this bullshit. And I got to tell you, I'm going to have a drink to that. $50 super chat is buying me a single malt Glenlivet Scotch. Thank you, Cottage Farm, for the great support. You've been a long time supporter of the show, and I can't thank you enough. Without you guys, I would have 3 jobs. 3 jobs. Because of you guys, I only have to go to work at 2 jobs. God bless you all. Thank you, Cottage Farm, for this one, too. It's getting a little parched, get a little thirsty. Woo! And I always need some sleep aid for Sunday night because I've got a 5-day work week coming up that's going to kick my ass. You want to know why? Well, I got 1, too many projects to do, and 2, I've been gone a week, so I know when I return tomorrow, it's going to be a shit show on steroids. Anyways, here's a drink for all of us dealing with this bullshit. You can't say that enough. We're literally being led down the primrose path to hell by pedophiles, thieves, liars, and Satanists. Crazy. Absolutely crazy. What do we want to talk about, folks? What do we want to talk about? Cottage Farm, you didn't come up with a topic other than I appreciate the drink, but there's good stuff to discuss. Let's try this. Is this a surprise? No, not at all. Get this, folks. CNN, the number one name in news, right? Well, guess what? They're in the West Bank in Palestine, and CNN, their whole crew was captured by the Israeli Defense Forces. Yeah, that's right, folks. CNN has reported that they were assaulted and their media equipment was damaged. Do you know that the Israeli Defense Force has killed more journalists than all sides in World War I and World War II combined? The IDF has killed hundreds of journalists, more than World War I and II combined on both sides. But remember this quote I gave you, was it last week, the week before? I don't know. The first casualty of war is the truth. You cannot have a free media reporting in Israel or in any American base. Well, that's giving the enemy aid and comfort, John. No, we, the American people, deserve facts, truths. Hell, I think in Saudi Arabia, Dubai, if you report anything that's going on there, you can get 5 years in prison. 5 years for telling the world what the fuck is happening in Dubai. Well, people are releasing videos of parts of Dubai getting bombed. They're releasing videos of the airport. It's empty. There's no airplanes flying in. The airport itself, I believe, has been bombed. Woo! The first casualty of war is the truth. And then, if you're not getting the truth, what do we get? Lies, propaganda, and more lies. And Israel and the IDF cannot and will not allow any version of reality that they don't approve escape their genocidal war zone. Surprise, surprise, surprise. Even CNN, which is owned, folks, by Israelis. Yeah, done. All right, let's swap back over here. We've got about 20 minutes left in the show. Big Dan the man checks in with a $10 super chat, and he says, I bought 16 ounces of gold for $1,850 an ounce. That was just, I think, 2 years ago. I think 2 years ago, gold was down at $1,800 an ounce. It essentially has tripled that and has dropped back down a little bit. But like I said, before every tsunami or tidal wave it'll go right. It's gone out a little. But Dan also says he bought 100 ounces of silver at $30 an ounce. That would have been just last year. Still holding its value as always, and I can pull it out of my safe and handle it. It is not fake. Now, you guys have done great at getting more people here live. Keep sharing the internet address. Start the video at the beginning if you've shown up late to the game. Unless you want to ask a question and see yourself on the screen and have your question answered, start the video at the beginning. There's a lot of information we've been sharing. Now, back to precious metals. Did you know that if you own 16 ounces of gold, that's a lot of money? Let's see. I don't know what you bought it for, but let's just say now 16 times, well, let's just do 2,000. That's $32,000. Did you know that you, as a free American, can take your precious metals and you can contact a company like Money Metals, moneymetals.com. You can contact them and you can take your metals, send them to their vault. They put them in their vault. In exchange, they give you the dollar value, currency. So if you've got $30,000, that should have been 60. Come on, John, 60,000. Anyways, whatever the amount is, let's say you have $100,000 in precious metals, they'll give you, $100,000 in cash, and then you can use your metal to in that vault. You still own it; they're just holding it as collateral. Holding it as collateral, and you can make interest-only payments or payments on that loan. But if the value of metals, gold and silver, continues to go up and up and up and up, you still own that gold or silver that you put in their vault and taken a loan out against. They just hold it as collateral till the loan is, the debt is satisfied. But here's the deal. If I take this, let's just say this silver goes to $1,000 an ounce, and I, like Dan, have 100 ounces. I've got $100,000 in silver. If I go to a coin shop and sell that for $100,000, guess what? I am supposed to declare that profit and pay taxes on that profit. And the government may do a windfall profit tax and say, we want 50% of your profit. Well, hell, man, I only paid $30 an ounce. It's at $1,030. I've got to give you, the government, $500 an ounce. $500 an ounce I've got to give to you, the government, because I sold something that's mine, that I paid for with money that I made and paid taxes on already. And now I've got to give you more taxes. But if you get a loan against your property, your gold and silver, that's not a sale. It's a loan. It's debt. You don't pay taxes on it. Just a little hint for those of you who are selling or saving in real money. It's not fake. But rather than sell it and pay taxes, you can get a loan against it as collateral. It's now debt. You can write that debt off. Oh, also, by the way, it's kind of like a mortgage, right? You live in your house. You say, I'm the homeowner. I just have a mortgage. So you can mortgage your precious metals and not pay taxes on the value of it. Use it for whatever you need money for. But I tell you, for right now, there's a lot of shit in the air. Anyway, it's just an interesting topic. I saw your super chat, and that's exactly what it reminded me of. It's gone up in value since you paid $1,850 an ounce for your gold. There's a lot of people saying gold is going to go to 15 to 20,000 by the end of this year. You know who's saying that, by the way? I don't know if you follow precious metals and reporting, if you understand investing in the stock market, there are people buying calls for $15,000 to $20,000 an ounce for gold by the end of 2026. What does that mean? There's rich people out there buying millions and millions of dollars worth of stock market bets called calls. They're buying those, betting that it's going to go up. That means they're putting money out there, millions and millions of dollars, betting gold's going to go that high. Because they know something, folks. Rich people don't piss away their money on bets. If there's one thing I've learned watching the stock market the last few years, with all the insider trading from banks, all the insider trading from investment houses, all the insider trading from Wall Street and, Pennsylvania Avenue and Congress, is they bet on sure things. They know where this is going. We, the little people of the world, are always the last one to fucking know. Well, preppers, smart people, we know shit's going to hit the fan. We know things are bad. We know food's going to go up. Inflation's going to go up. There could be fuel shortages. We might have power outages. We could have ridiculous 2020 summer of love crap going on. Chaos, mayhem, bedlam, arson, murders. We could have all that again, only bigger. So we're preppers. We have food, water, shelter, clothing, medicine, means of self-defense. If you've got extra value, you buy this. You know you need communications gear. At the very least, a hand-cranked radio to listen to news that's out there in case the power goes out. There's still going to be radio broadcasts. And if you need help finding any of this stuff, go to, here we are, the one time I'm going to mention in 2 fucking hours, thepreparedmind.club, C-L-U-B. Thepreparedmind.club is website. You can go there and find all the preparations, everything you need to get prepared that we have on the website. But I don't have a warehouse. I've got a bunker. I don't have a warehouse, but it'll send you, like, these products is what we looked at. They're pretty good. Nothing's ever perfect. Nothing's ever good enough for people who are fucking experts, right? Oh, that's not good enough. That's not good enough. I like this one better. I don't give a fuck. Get your own channel out there. But I'm just trying to help people who want some pointers, and this will point you in a direction. Look at this product here. Look at this radio. Look at this self-defense item. Look at this prepper chow, right? Get some ideas, get some prices, and go shop it. That's all it is. The preparedmind.club is to help you get prepared, because we can see, even though we're just little people, even though they try and hide all the facts, the future from us, if you watch them close enough, you can see what the fuck is coming, right? What the fuck is coming? The banks know what's coming. Oh, yes. Yes, they do. The banks know what's coming. That's why banks are buying gold. The banks are buying silver. Other countries are buying silver. It's crazy, folks. It really is. Anyways, thank you, Big Dan the Man. I appreciate it. And speaking of banks, did you know this? Bank of America is just the latest financial institution to settle with Epstein victims. Payouts. Bank of America is paying victims of Epstein cash money. Cash money. Unfucking believable, right? JP Morgan, Deutsche Bank, is it USB? A bunch of banks are paying millions, hundreds of millions of dollars to Epstein victims. I'm like, wait a minute. Crimes can be settled privately with payoffs? Isn't that bribery? I thought that was bribery. They can go to victims and go, here's some money, shut up, go away. And the government's like, oh, that's fine. So the crime just disappears. All of a sudden, these satanic, child-raping, cannibalistic, murdering motherfucking Satanists, say that one 10 times fast, they can just give a little money out and it's fine? Crime never happened once the banks give money? The crime did still happen. And the state, whether it's a local state or the federal government, has a responsibility to protect the public. That's the whole point and purpose of law and order. We didn't create this so rich people can fuck us in the ass. We didn't create the Constitution as free humans just to be enslaved by a bunch of rich, lying, satanic pieces of shit. Pedivore, yeah, that's a good one. The crime still exists. The crime still exists. So the government's like, oh, okay, since somebody paid money, it's fine. No, whoever committed the crime needs to go to fucking prison and find out what it's like to be victimized in shower time, right? Crazy business, folks. Actual crazy fucking business. The banks. Yeah, you can trust them. Folks, we got 10 minutes left in the show, and we're back over 410 people live right now. This is one of the best attended shows in months. I love it. And shit is going to hit the fan. We are going to war, folks. There will be boots on the ground. My prediction, 99% at this point, because President Trump, instead of explaining to us why we're going to war, instead of explaining to us, well, wait, last summer we bombed Iran and we eradicated, we destroyed their ability to have nuclear weapons. Anyone that says any difference, a jerk, moron, idiot, doesn't know what they're talking about, says President Trump back last summer. But here we are 6 months later. They're just a couple of weeks away from having a bomb again. Really? So Trump, instead of explaining to us himself, says, watch Mark Levin. Super Zionist, Israeli first, America last and never. Micro penis, according to people who know. I don't know. Anyways, they're calling him micro penis. I think it's funny. And I think he actually called Megyn Kelly blowthroat or something like that. Yeah, they're throwing sexual insults at each other. Great, let them. Anyways, I got lost in all that. These fucking people are not going to give us the facts and the truth. They're going to tell us we're going to war whether you like it or not. We're going to go to war whether there's a constitution or not. We're going to go to war, like it or not, because Israel says so. When I say Israel controls Washington, D.C. and the media, because they own the media literally, they own the banks literally, they control the banking institutions literally. America isn't the only one, folks. Canada pretends to be mad at America. Britain pretends to be mad at America. Europe pretends to be mad at America. We pretend to be mad at all of them. They're all owned. And I'll tell you how I know. Because they're killing Christianity. Same with Australia. We're told Australia hates everyone. No. What they're doing is they're dividing us so they can conquer us. They're taking Christianity away. In England, you cannot talk about the Bible. Well, in Israel, you can't either. If you're a Christian, you preach on the street, they'll arrest you at this point. Guess what Canada's doing? They're now passing the liberal, left-wing, socialist, communist pieces of shit in Canada are passing anti-Christian laws that'll criminalize quoting the Bible in public. Yeah, that's what's happening. They're criminalizing Christianity. Meanwhile, they're canonizing or making part of the law Sharia law. Same with England. They have Sharia law courts there. They're doing it in Europe. France, Spain, Portugal, Italy, Germany, Switzerland, Austria, Norway, Sweden, right? Everywhere. Australia, you can't make fun of Muslims. This is funny. An Israeli in Australia said something about Muslims. They arrested him. It's like, Israelis, hold your fire for a little bit. We're just trying to destroy the countries that are Christian first. And once we destroy the Christianity, then you, the Zionists, can come back in and then destroy the Muslims. But first they have to kill Christianity. Literally, they have to kill and destroy Christianity. Trust me, we are going to have Crusades 2.0. It is going to have to come to that. We as Christians, whether you're white, black, doesn't matter. Hispanic, Native, doesn't matter. Asian, fucking penguins, it doesn't. If you want to live, you're going to have to arm yourself and defend yourself at some point. I am watching right now. England, the United Kingdom, that includes Scotland. I hope you're okay, Bob. Right? I hope Wales, Ireland. I hope you're okay, Vincent. Right? I hope you're okay, Stephen, in England there. Hope you're okay. But they are killing Christianity, criminalizing Christianity. They are promoting Islam and making Islam the role. Now, why that? Why that? I'm going to just put this up here for fun because it's why do they need to allow Muslims to run and destroy America? I'll tell you why. You know who actually doesn't have a problem with it? Because they're easy to control. Muslims from around the world, low IQ, inbred fucking morons. Uneducated, low IQ, inbred morons. So in countries like Saudi Arabia, here's the evidence I would like to point to support this. Saudi Arabia, United Arab Emirates, Iran, Qatar, Kuwait. These countries are Muslim. Okay, I know Persia or Iran isn't fully Muslim, but follow me here. They follow very strict Muslim rules, right? Except for the elites, right? Do you think the sheikhs, the princes, do you think they follow the Quran? Now they're fucking all kinds of whores. They're drinking. They're taking drugs. They're having satanic fucking parties. Oh, yeah. A lot of these fucking sheikhs and rich fucking Middle Eastern Muslims are part of Epstein's island. But the people, right? There's a very strong line between the little people and the ruling class at the top. The ruling class doesn't have to follow any rules, whether it's Christian or Muslim or anything. They don't have to follow secular rules, government rules, the law. They're above the law. And we know that. We see that every day in the United States of America. The rich, the elites, the Zionist Israelis, they don't have to follow the fucking law. They get caught for pedophilia, for murder, trying to run over cops, running over cops, assault, murder, drug, rape. They just fly back to Israel. Judges let them out. Now, we have false Christians, false prophets all over the country, all over the world, teaching Judeo-Christian bullshit, in my opinion. The church, or parts of it, are asleep. They don't realize this is life and death. The Zionist Talmudic Israelis are using Islam to conquer Christian nations. Australia, Canada, America, the United Kingdom, Europe. They're using Muslims as their weapon to attack Christians. Because Israel can't destroy Christianity. There's not enough of them. Hell, they can't even bomb a country without getting their asses kicked within 5 days. Right? So they're trying to criminalize Christianity. They're trying to introduce Sharia law. That's over my dead fucking body. But they're trying, and they're going to keep pushing it. The only way for us to be defeated as Christians is if we give up. So you have to put on the armor of God. You have to give up everything they're telling you and just pick up the fucking book and read it. Right? Anyways, I'm not going to jump on this too much more. We're in big trouble, folks. Right? Morally, we're decaying because of Zionist propaganda and religious beliefs being hammered on us, and we're told to accept it. The LGBTQIAP pedophile bullshit. We need to fight wars for countries and cultures that hate us and want our destruction, while they import our death and destruction. They're threatening us with nuclear annihilation. They're threatening us with pandemic. They're threatening us with aliens. They're threatening us with telling us that we're not allowed to exist. Get prepared. Get educated. Help others wake up. We're here. Now, Viking 6, it says bingo. Thank you, brother, always for the great contributions and topics. Everyone, thank you. Nikki, you need to behave. That's not going to happen. This is what they want, Cottage Farm, over all of our dead fucking bodies. Let me tell you what the Zionists want. They want us dead, especially white Christians, but all Christians. Anyone who subscribes to the notion and idea that we should be free, that we can live our own lives, speak our minds, defend ourselves, be protected against evil government. No, they want to kill all that. They want us dead. They can't do it themselves. So they're importing our natural and, shall I say, spiritual enemies. Our physical, natural lives, as well as our spiritual lives. They are bringing in the enemy into our countries to fight us. And these idiot Muslims think that they're going to take over and they're going to run everything. Islam subjects their people to abject stupidity and poverty, while their leadership lives free and does whatever the fuck they want. That's why Israel is fine with having white Christian culture destroyed and everyone who lives under it, whether you're black, Hispanic, or whatever. Over our dead fucking bodies, you bet. That's exactly what they want. Folks, chance favors the prepared mind. I need to check everything. Look, This is the attitude I want from everyone. Black, brown, white, yellow, red, green, purple. I don't give a fuck. Not a chance, right? Courageous Cat is being facetious. I have my hijab ready for Sharia law. Not. It's not going to happen. Because if they don't want to kill you, they want to breed you out. They want to remove us. So the only white people right now who don't claim to be white, the Israelis, they're the supreme beings. They're the master race. Well, wait a minute. Weren't the Nazis, the Germans, supposed to be the master race? No. It's the Talmudic Israeli Jews who claim to be the master race, the chosen of God. And they are doing this. They are part and parcel to this world takeover, this world destruction. Stand by, folks. I want to thank everyone for participating, for sharing, and for supporting the channel. Chance favors the prepared mind. Don't leave anything to chance. Get prepared. Wake your family up. Wake up your coworker. Wake up everyone you know that's got 2 fucking brain cells that aren't killed by the vaccine. God bless America. Semper Fi.